All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our Unwrapping the 2022 Holiday Advertising Strategies. I am your host, Rachel Bennington, and I'm our VP of Managed Sales at GroundTruth. We also have David Lorongo joining us today, who is the head of growth marketing at Meaningful Works. And then we also have Allison Hampton, who's a senior account executive on the CPG team here at GroundTruth. So kicking it right off, before we get started, we just want to remind all participants that you are muted, but you can chat with us real time in the chat feature of Zoom. So please do that, and we will get to you as soon as possible. We will have this full recording and it'll be sent out to all registrants, and also all of our sales team will be sharing this with customers, and we have this available on LinkedIn. So please feel free to share with all of your friends too. You can submit questions via the Q&A function through the session, so please feel free to take advantage of that. And then share your feedback via the poll survey that's during the session. If you've got any follow-up questions, you can email us at adexpert@groundtruth.com or connect with your GroundTruth representative. All right. So today's agenda, we're going to do a brief overview of GroundTruth, but we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty of the insights for 2022 holiday trends that we're already anticipating and that I know many of you are trying to wrap your head around. And then we're going to do a fireside chat with David, and I think that you will be very impressed with all that he has to bring to the table and the advice that he has to give for this upcoming season. And then we're going to have a Q&A. So submit your questions and we will get to those at the very end. All right. For those of you joining us that have no idea who GroundTruth is, welcome. We're glad you're here. But we're the leading location advertising company that leverages physical world data to build unique audience and targeting solutions for marketers. So what does that even mean? I love this insight that I heard the other day that on average, consumers go 20 to 30 places. And our job at GroundTruth is using our data to help you better understand your targeted shopper or targeted customer. Where do they go in those 20 to 30 places, and making sense of that behavior so that you can better be disruptive with your ads to drive meaningful moments that really deliver purchase and sales and all of the outcomes that you're hoping for. And when I heard that insight the other day, I thought, wow, I'm a busy mom of 3 kids. They are preteen and they are in every possible travel sport is insane. I thought I probably go hundreds of places. But the truth of the matter is that when I sat down and started making my list, I do have really regular patterns that I go, and it did add up to those 20 to 30 places. So the thing that really sets GroundTruth apart is you hear in this digital world today, data is actually a commodity. It's table stakes. Everybody has data. But what sets GroundTruth apart is our visitation data is proprietary. And even more than that, one thing that we really pride ourselves on and that we're very excited about is our new accreditation that we got from the Media Rating Council on location, place, and visitation. We're the only one in our space that has all 3, and that's due to our accuracy and precision. And the way that we got that is the way that we look at our location determination. It's the process that we verify location data. If you look at place determination, the way GroundTruth contextualizes the physical world with our patented blueprints. And then also with visit determination, verifying that the ads that we serve and the visits that we report on are an actual intentional consumer visit. We're talking about non-panel data. This is a true capture of who saw your ad and then who went to the location that you were trying to drive that visit towards. So with all of that in mind, we're going to dive right into our holiday consumer trends, which I know all of you are here for and very excited about. Let's look back first into 2021. It has been a wild ride, to say the least, these last couple of years. And as marketers, I think some of our biggest challenge is trying to establish what is this next year going to look like. And with a major pandemic, who could have ever forecasted that? And then the rise of e-com the way that it had in 2021, what does 2022 holiday season mean for most of us? And really even the future for that matter. So let's break this down a little bit further. Sales growth was strong amongst every channel, with total holiday retail sales increasing by 16.1% year over year in 2021. I think many of us were kind of choosing to stay inside, and in 2021 we were ready to kind of get back out a little bit more and really ready to bring back celebrations in a big way. I know that many people were kind of feeling that desire to get together with friends and family again, and that was a big focus of last year's holiday season. Brick and mortar growth outpaced e-commerce growth in 2021 for the first time in the holiday season, signaling big demand for that in-person shopping experience. So I love that, we're seeing this return of brick and mortar. You look at some of the old display trends that we saw in the past, even sampling coming back for the first time in this year. And, you really see marketers being able to re-engage with that customer, and it not only have to be through e-commerce anymore, it's through just that in-person interaction. Also, a couple trends that we were able to bucket into your key moments or the key weekends that we know really matter. While sales volume declined in 2021 for both Black Friday weekend and Cyber Monday, in-store foot traffic increased. So for Thanksgiving, we saw in-store foot traffic through our patented blueprints increase 34.2% in 2021 versus 2022. That's an incredible increase. And if you think about what was happening around those times, it makes perfect sense. And then also smartphone sales made up 44% of online Black Friday transactions, up 10.6%. I don't know about you, but the convenience of having ads served straight to my phone, I've been able to capitalize on that for efficiency, saving my family that time, and most of the time money when I have a planned budget for what we're spending over the holiday. And we saw that with Thanksgiving last year. Black Friday weekend in 2021, US consumers spent 10.7 billion, down 1.4 from 2020 on Cyber Monday, but it remained the largest online shopping day of the year. So that traditional Black Friday weekend, and then we're going to get into Cyber Monday, but still continue to be that highest online shopping day is super impressive. And smartphone sales increased by 8.4% on Black Friday weekend from 2021 to 2020. For Cyber Monday, with many large retail chains closed, consumers turned online shopping for Thanksgiving Day purchases. So for the first time last year, you saw many of your kind of keystone or big box retailers that had capitalized on opening their doors Thanksgiving Day, close their doors Thanksgiving Day, leaving less time for in-store shopping. And what you saw as a trend is the Cyber Monday deals began on the Saturday and Sunday before Cyber Monday, which extended that holiday kind of shopping online e-commerce experience. The top reasons that consumers shop on Thanksgiving Day are good deals. I know that I have been known to line up for a good deal on Black Friday. My mom and sister and I kind of make that our tradition. And I'll never forget the year that all three of my kids needed new bikes and they were on sale at Walmart. And boy, we were running in and through the halls to the bikes as soon as they opened the doors with the best of them. And so right in line with what we're seeing with consumer reports of why people are really shopping and saving money to spend on this specific day is because they're looking for the deals. And the tradition of it, just like the story that I shared, many of you probably can remember times that you've capitalized on a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday because the excitement and it's tradition. You do it every year, and that accounts for 28%. So what can we expect this year? Of course, we can't predict everything, but a few things are starting to become some common themes just based on the economy right now. Average cost of goods is seeing double-digit increases compared to a year ago. Inflation's continuing to rise, as we all can feel, and meaning higher prices on consumer goods for the rest of the year. I know that my average grocery bill and even just back to school shopping for this year was nearly double what it was for my family last year. And so the American family is feeling that today. We're sending if you were sending a 40-foot container from Asia to the US, it costs nearly 14 times what it did in 2019. How's that for inflation? However, supply chain shortage issues symbolize a large opportunity for brick and mortar stores to advertise products that are already in stock. You're going to hear in just a little bit how GroundTruth and companies like ours have really just positioned themselves to set up solutions to be able to target you in real time based on your stock levels and be able to shift advertising in a new and exciting way. So if you didn't see this already, but the poll is going up, how well did the content of the webinar meet your expectations? So you can fill this out at any time, and just want to let you guys know that if you saw that pop up, that's what that's for. All right. The value is expected to trump loyalty in holiday season, with 50% of consumers in the US surveyed expected to switch brands in order to save money and cut costs. This is probably not a surprise, as many of you in your own households are experiencing this, where when before a brand really mattered, and maybe you were brand loyal because of taste or quality or whatever that might be, we're seeing more and more of that switcher behavior because they need the dollar to go further for their household budget. And with the rise of costs, those are small ways that we're seeing consumers create additional budget or be able to make that dollar go further. All right. So holiday shopping seasons will be longer and flatter. I'm sure that that's really not a whole lot of surprise to you, but some of these stats might be: 37% of shoppers plan on buying gifts earlier compared to previous years. 50% of consumers who began their holiday retail shopping prior to Thanksgiving, and 1.9% spending decrease from November to December in 2021. How many of you already have one holiday gift that you've already kind of hidden away in your closet for later? I know I am absolutely guilty of that. When they did the end of back to school kind of markdowns, if you will, some of those really key items that for my children's age, who are 12, 11, and 10, that they're looking for started to go on sale. And I knew that these are things, it could be hot items like electronics, or even for preteens, certain types of brands that would go on sale. And so watching for those sooner is a definite trend that you're going to be seeing this holiday season. So you're also going to see this concept continue to come back. I remember back in my day, the layaway days, right? How many of you guys remember, companies like Kmart, who really launched layaway and did that very at the forefront of all of their holiday seasons? But this concept now that's on e-com even, of buy now, pay later. What our insights show us is consumers use this buy now, pay later, and it's going to hit an all-time high in December of 2021, and it's increased 483% since 2019. And 1 in 5 adults plan to use this. They used it in the 2021 holiday season. We're anticipating it again in the 2022 holiday season. And that includes millennials and Gen Z, which I know many of your marketing strategies are really shaped around focusing in on millennial and Gen Z to build that loyalty early for your brands. So there's a big opportunity here. If you are a brand that can participate in a buy now, pay later, fantastic strategy and an option for you. You're also going to see the returning of discounting. So I'm sure that you can think of many stores who that was their strategy for many years. And then they shifted away from that when they felt like perhaps during the pandemic, that they didn't need to focus on discounting as much because people were spending in larger quantities and they wanted to kind of see the variety of products. And so it felt like for a season that maybe there wasn't a need to discount. But with many retailers over ordering in 2021, there is now a supply surplus issue. So you're going to see retailers bringing some of that supply back with deep discounts, and that also just help with that year-over-year inventory management. Brick and mortar, the prediction there is 60% of all digital orders are influenced by an in-store experience. There's a big opportunity to use digital channels to drive visits to in-person stores. Click and collect, curbside pickup, all of those things are still going to be very much at the forefront of the strategy for 2022 from marketers that I've talked to. And then also just with supply chain issues, 442% more shoppers are buying items in store year over year rather than waiting for online orders to arrive. Many of you, I remember speaking with last year just about the frustrations of you ordered that hot gift for your kid and you wanted to be the hero on Christmas Day and the gift didn't arrive. So you were left, like me and many other parents, wrapping up a picture of what the item is going to look like when it does arrive. And so I think that many of us learned from that. And this year, kind of trying to make sure that the experience is different, are shopping earlier, but you're also seeing just, I may pass on that one gift that I can only buy online and start to purchase in store so that I know I have that gift for that special someone on the holiday during the holidays. All right, holiday planning. So we're going to kind of focus on a couple things, but really especially the where. Being a location company, we feel like we have figured out those trends of those 20 to 30 places for each of your targeted consumers. And so just sharing some key bucketed types of verticals for you of insights that we have based on our foot traffic tracker and based on location. So trips to retail stores, including alcohol, jewelry, home improvement, it spiked 113% above average the Saturday before Christmas and 129% the Saturday before Thanksgiving. What's interesting about this is it kind of debunks that original thought of the 2 days before Thanksgiving are the busiest shopping days for Thanksgiving. Actually, what we're seeing is that the whole weekend before, consumers are starting to get smarter. They want to have less of that last minute rush and they're planning earlier. And so if you are planning your marketing strategy, these are two key weekends that you may want to heavy up advertising to get eyes on your product right before your targeted consumers go in store. Also, visits to hotel, including luxury and economy, saw a 52% increase the Saturday before Christmas and a 73% increase in foot traffic the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So I don't know about you, but this morning I just got a text from my husband's family, a group text about planning Thanksgiving and when they plan to come in town and where they plan to stay and how many people are staying at my house. And so you're seeing this extension of this holiday happen on that Saturday before in order to be able to squeeze it in. And in a family like ours, certain family members fly in and they may be there for that front half of the holiday, which is that, Sunday to Tuesday. And then they may even fly home and be at their own home for Thanksgiving Day. And we're definitely seeing this. So if you are a hotel brand out there trying to plan your strategy, keep these weekends in mind and plan out as early as September, October, starting to advertise for these key weekends to make sure that you're full. Restaurant locations, including fast casual, fine dining, saw a 42% increase the Saturday before Christmas and an 85% increase in foot traffic the Saturday before Thanksgiving. So it makes sense. You've got all of these consumers that are out there shopping. They're having a great time with their family, that you see this increase in foot traffic with restaurants. This is a key time for you to lean in and be able to capture that audience with a really good marketing strategy, the weekends leading up to, and then heavying up those weekends to capture those kind of in the moment shoppers who are looking for a restaurant to go to. Luxury versus off price. And so I know that this isn't a surprise to many of you as your budgets are being squeezed and you're looking for opportunities to save for your family and loved ones and even for yourself, that foot traffic to off price stores spiked before Thanksgiving last year, up 137% above average on November 20th. We continue to see this anticipated off-price stores being able to drive traffic these same weekends for this year due to the state of economy. While traffic to retail locations tends to increase on Black Friday, luxury stores saw the largest increase in foot traffic on the deal-centered holiday, with foot traffic up 188% compared to average, likely tied to shoppers wanting to score big with deep discounts on high-priced items. So again, those discount seekers who also may want that one or two luxury items for a loved one or for themselves, they're capitalizing on the days that they feel like they can count on when that discount is going to happen. And so if you are a luxury store, being able to plan a smart strategy to advertise, to plan to capture those dollars and that share of wallet on that day is absolutely the direction that you should be headed based on the insights that we have. The Saturday before Christmas often sees the largest spike in retail locations as last minute shoppers flock to stores to finish their holiday lists. Both off price and luxury stores saw a normal bump in traffic, but while off price, it saw an increase of 139% compared to average. Luxury stores saw 3 times their average foot traffic from in store shoppers, making them the go to for the perfect gift. So, as mentioned before, you've got that loved one who maybe has that one luxury item on their list or two, and that's what you really are saving up, and you want to get them that special gift. Then capitalizing on those key weekends is going to be really important for you. So holiday planning and the where. So these are the locations with the highest increase in foot traffic. So when you're planning a strategy, what's really important for restaurants is to also put other indexing restaurants that fit into these categories. So for casual dining, for example, if you may be, a cafe and you really want to try and draw people to your cafe, you want to look at other casual dining restaurants who might be in that space that would normally have an increase in foot traffic and be able to advertise to those locations, your location. So as they get close to that decision where they want to decide where they're going to go, that yours is going to stay top of mind. Coffee shops, department stores, fast casual restaurants, and quick serve restaurants are all very important, to name a few. And this is really to start turning on advertisement September 2021 all the way through the holiday season to make sure that you stay top of mind. Recent changes in the marketing landscape that we've all seen: cookieless future, consumer behavior shifts, and channel opportunities. Cookieless future comes as no surprise. All of us that have iPhones get inundated regularly with the quality updates, right? And so with this, third-party cookies will be phased out by 2023. So companies like ours have made plans, and you as marketers should be asking those companies, how are you planning for this cookieless future? How am I going to be sure that the data and the locations that we are activating on are accurate with precision, and that you're equipped to kind of bypass this cookieless future? So marketers don't need an alternative. They need a long-term solution. They need a partner who has leaned in and prepared for these things. For consumer shifts, you're seeing expedited adoption of curbside pickup with delivery options, and also a swing back towards in-store, and rising costs of living and inflation that are likely to shift as well. And so the key takeaway here is that marketers need levers that they can access easily to adapt to quick shifts. So one of the key things as marketers that you can do is come to vendors like us and say, you know what, this is the problem that we're trying to solve for. This happened in 2020 with one of our key customers. They came to us, as you can imagine, this particular customer was selling toilet paper. And in the paper goods category in 2020, you guys know, it was like the Amazing Race, trying to rush through every store to make sure you grabbed every bit of facial tissue and toilet paper that you possibly could for your household. And so they came to us saying, we're having a hard time because certain stores had larger quantities of stock than others. And how do they advertise to the consumer so that they have a positive shopping experience, being able to show up to that store where stock was actually there? And so our company developed an in-stock targeting solution, partnering with another company to tap into where those stock levels were and being able to shift our ads in real time to tell consumers how to get those products and where to go buy them. So you're going to continue to see this as a trend, and where marketers, you need to lean in with your vendors to help us create solutions that are really going to drive the needle for you this holiday season. Channel opportunities is also something you're hearing about. So gone are the days where you just focus on mobile advertising. You want to create that connectivity with your shopper on every screen. And so from digital out of home to CTV, marketers have more opportunities to tap into their audiences. You have addressable and measurable media. So one thing that we get really excited about with our CTV offering is being able to show you real visits because of our blueprints and the data that we have available to us. And how many of you guys have bought, your linear TV in the past, and you get very little metrics that show you how successful that was? And so being able to tie it to measurable media, and even as high as being able to report back on specific ROI is important. And then precision audience targeting available. Gone are the days where you're like, I want to target women 35 to 55. Yes, you can do that. And you can layer on a bunch of different audiences that really index with your brand, test and learn, and see which ones move the needle at the end of your campaign so that you can keep actioning on that throughout the year. So the key takeaway here is that marketers have access to more measurable results than ever before. Make sure that your providers this holiday season are geared up to deliver results in whatever way that you need that. Retail media networks. Okay, so this one, sometimes I know that as marketers, you're sitting back saying, retail media networks, I absolutely have to check the box and have to spend with them. And yes, you should. This builds your relationship with your retail partner. It gives you access to first-party data. It's exclusive placement on web and in-store, ease of use, self-serve options. Absolutely, you are going to spend with retail media. You should be spending with retail media to continue your relationship. But where else and how else should you be thinking about vendors? And this is where we really leaned in with our customers to help educate what retail media is offering and how we can help fill the gaps in what they're not offering. So a couple things that you want to think about with your vendors and activating, especially for the holiday season, is custom creatives. These are things that you cannot get from retail media. They simply do not have time. So being able to lean in with vendors like us to help give you multiple test and learns with creative across many different screens, whether that's digital out of home, CTV, OTT, or even with just your mobile media, being able to offer custom creative is a big win with your partnership with vendors. You still have access to first and third party data, which is still very important. You also have specialized in different solutions. So we're location-based experts. You may have search, social, really just being able to get a knowledge expert from your vendors on whatever that specific KPI is that you're really wanting to deliver on. We can become a one-stop shop. So some partners can provide access across all screens like GroundTruth, and that really helps you create that connectivity and go deep with that one audience type. And then self-serve and managed options, where if you've got a small lean team and you don't have time to be able to have that in-house solution, that's okay. We offer that service for you, managed. But we also have self-serve. If you have a team and you have capacity, we have an incredible self-serve team that helps you get going here at GroundTruth or at other vendors. And those are great options because you can activate very quickly on those. And you can also be responsive in real time to what you're seeing from consumer behavior. All right, so what did we mean about creating connectivity and really driving disruption this holiday season? This is an example of how Rose Pink was able to use mobile and cross-device, also with desktop, maybe even on a digital out-of-home billboard, CTV, and the big screen on your living room. But being able to see this multiple times, have multiple touch points and ways that you talk to the customer with a similar look and feel is really what's going to drive results in this 2022 holiday season. So delivering on your KPIs, whether that's top of the funnel brand awareness, or you're really trying to drive consideration or trial, or you're just trying to capitalize on the greatest share of foot traffic visits, GroundTruth is a great place, and we challenge you to continue to find vendors like ours who are going to deliver on your KPIs with measurable metrics. So reaching the holiday planner, and we've got several tips along all of these types of customer types. Before we hand it over for the fireside chat, we want to give you these real tangible tips. So if you're reaching the holiday planner with 37% of consumers planning to start their holiday shopping earlier, this is people like me who trying to make that dollar go further. You really want custom audience targeting, making sure that you're being as specific as possible. Layer on first and third party data, making sure that GroundTruth's audiences can hyper focus for your specific persona. GroundTruth has several attributes that marketers can tap into to customize your targeting needs. We also have behavioral audience targeting. Align your marketing strategy with your likely shoppers based on their past behaviors. And then cross-device targeting, making sure that you are activating on multiple screens is going to leave a really great experience for that person who is the holiday planner. Picture somebody who might be scrolling on Instagram and they see your boosted advertising post there, and then they're on another app, or maybe they have the Hallmark Channel's holiday countdown of all of the shows that they're watching, and there's advertising there, and so you're reaching your shopper there. They're driving down the highway and they see that digital out-of-home billboard and it's got your brand there. And then right before they go in store, they're being targeted with another ad. And all of those connectivity points are going to help drive purchase this holiday season. Cross-device is a great strategy, though, to add to be able to create that connectivity. For the deal seeker, behavioral audience targeting is where it's at. You're going to understand based on their patterns. Do they go to discount stores? Are they searching out luxury online, but you're seeing them go to a TJ Maxx in their real world behavior? Being able to target in this way is key to the strategy for reaching the deal seeker. Neighborhoods targeting is a great way to capture the attention here. This is when they're at home planning that trip and they are actively looking through all of the ads that they get to be able to find the best deal. This is a great strategy to be able to layer on and reach them at home when they're in that list making stage. And then cross-device targeting, again, you're going to hear this over and over. Reaching these shoppers on multiple screens is how you're going to drive that disruption this holiday season. Reach the last minute gifter. So how many of you guys have that spouse like mine who loves to shop last minute? And sometimes, you know, I think it ends up paying off for him because they might offer some extra deals in, in my husband's case. But the last minute gifter, they're still an important strategy in targeting this person. In-stock targeting, they need to know where they can get that item that's been on their loved one's list for 2 months that they're getting in the last day. And so in-stock targeting is a great solution for that. On-premise targeting, when they are close to that location, being able to make sure they get eyes on your product right before they go to store is a key strategy to be able to capture their attention and drive purchase. And then location audience targeting, where you are reaching those likely shoppers based on their past behavior to stay top of mind. If on my husband's holiday list every year is an item at Best Buy, then this type of shopper that I know I can count on for spouses like me, you know, if you are an electronic marketer out there for an electronic good, then being able to target those that have been to a Best Buy location around the same time last year is going to help you drive purchase this year with that same audience. And year over year, people like us are looking for those deals. So make sure that as you get closer, this on-premise targeting is a lever that you pull to be able to get your product top of mind. And with all that said, we are going to kick it over to the fireside chat, and I'm happy to answer questions for you at the end of this as well. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce David. David, if you want to go ahead and come on screen, and Allison, very excited if both of you guys want to do just a brief intro, a little bit about yourself, and then go ahead and kick it off for the fireside chat. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks so much, Rachel. Hello, everybody. I'm Allison. I'm a member of the team here at GroundTruth. Have been here for about 6 months now and have really had a great time. And we're joined by David Larongo from Meaningful Work. So David, you want to kick it off and introduce yourself as well?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. David Larongo. I am the head of growth at Meaningful Works. Been with Meaningful Works for about 3 years now, but full-time since May. So handling a variety of our accounts, Nick's Ice Creams. We have several credit unions and banks, and then also working on the 99 as well, with a background in performance and growth marketing.
Awesome. Thanks so much, David. You alluded to it a little bit, but before we kind of dive into, how you're approaching the holidays and how that may differ across your clients, I'd love to hear just a little bit more about your background and kind of what led you over to Meaningful Works.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was, I started kind of my career in CPG at the wonderful company, really enjoyed CPG, but I learned a lot about marketing there. Graduated on, probably was working a bit in fashion for a while there at Forever 21, and then at Charming Charlie, and all the while still being a performance marketer. It kind of came to 2019 where I started to realize what I liked, at least about the sort of cultures at the wonderful company in Forever 21, even to some degree, Charming Charlie is a little more family-owned businesses. But I also like the sort of startup energy, even though those aren't startups at all, but the sort of can-do attitude. Got contracted with Meaningful Works in 2019. We were launching Nix, kind of a new burgeoning agency, and Nix was brand new. I don't think we even had distribution in store. We decided we wanted to launch kind of digitally, which is a crazy idea to me. Meeting the team there, what I really liked, a couple things: the values that MW has, entrepreneurial spirit, can-do attitude, do what it takes, but always learn, and then be there for the client, resonated with me. But also the ability to kind of take my career and move it in the direction that I felt was right for me, but also right for the client in terms of not just being stuck in silos. So over the course of the journey with MW, it just made sense for me to join the team. I saw myself grow as a marketer, I saw myself grow as a business person. I would say overall growth, professional and personal as well. So I took that kind of leap as I felt that there were very few agencies that would allow that, right? If I wanted to dive into one particular client, there's openness. If I wanted to take on a whole entire new vertical and learn, I could do that too. If there's business development, could do that as well. So there's just so much opportunity there that I was just not going to get at any other full-time or any other agency that I could even think of.
Yeah, I love that. I love that kind of like taking your future in your own hands perspective as well. It sounds like you've got, quite a diverse background. And then I know that you also support quite a few different diverse clients across industries at Meaningful Works. So I'd love it if you could tell us a little bit about the types of clients that you work with, and then maybe how your marketing approaches differ from that.
Yeah, so there's probably three main verticals: CPG, kind of like startup CPG, maybe early stage, mid-stage CPG. Then we have banking, credit unions is kind of another vertical. And then outside of that, retailers, right? So I think of like the 99 or Rayleigh's as well. So there's kind of these three verticals. There's not a lot of, I would say, cohesion among them in the sense that they're all kind of different and have different needs. Marketing that is the same in certain ways, right? So it's messaging, it's brand, it's being customer centric. Those are all very important across all of them, especially the type of banking clients that we have, like credit unions, right? Very personal relationship. With Nix, we do try to form that as well especially with our most loyal customers. There's a very deep connection they have to the brand, even though it's relatively new. And then similar kind of on the retail side, you think of a brand like Rayleigh's or 99. I think there's certainly on the 99, there's a personal connection there. I think everybody can think of the 99 when going there, either kids or what have you, right? There's this very specific need, but the 99 doesn't feel just like any other retailer, right? It has a kind of personal connection. So that's kind of how they're the same. Different in a lot of other ways, channels that we're going to use, right? Some of them are going to be actually, a lot of them, they're very geolocated, depending, right? Retailers, CPG, where we have brick and mortar, or where we have grocery stores for Nix, for example. But then also we sell ice cream online. So the strategies tend to differ. Local hyper-targeted marketing for brick and mortar, for kind of banners and store targeting, broader kind of more brand awareness for .com. But the channel strategies tend to differ, even if a lot of the channels remain the same. And I would say something like looking at influencer marketing, probably more so on the consumer side. But we've even done influencer marketing for banks and for credit unions too. So I would say each client is different more than anything else in a lot of ways, but we try to, again, instill those values in every client and every approach and with every vendor we work with.
Yeah, no, it's fun to hear how you kind of learn with one client, but then you think of, how you might be able to apply it to somebody who's in a completely different industry. So totally. I definitely appreciate that perspective. And, we heard a little bit in the webinar still, kind of the looming effects of the pandemic. And, since 2020, brands and customers both have been very heavily impacted by supply chain issues, obviously. That's led to, shifts in brand loyalty, or, maybe a customer who's disappointed once they get to the shelf and they can't find their favorite brand. And then you add to that, there's rising costs and there's inflation and things like that. So we've seen, that shift to prioritizing value over loyalty. And it would be great to hear how you guide your clients on, navigating some issues like that and reaching their key audiences and driving some sales.
Yeah, I mean, I can say in some ways, and I think this is obvious to anybody who is a performance marketer for sure, cost of acquisition has gone way up. The days where you can kind of set up a Facebook campaign and get immediate results for .coms or anything are kind of gone, and I don't think they're coming back. I saw that shift at the end of last year. Really, I mean, iOS, you kind of still had some lingering positive effects as everything started to shift over. But looking at sort of where we go into the future, when you say like value and loyalty, I think in a lot of ways, at least I want clients to recognize, I see them as largely the same. Value and providing value to the customer also will drive loyalty. I think, especially as we go into a recession, and I think that's coming, or I think a lot of people think it's coming. I do. We're going to have to look at, right, sort of how do we understand new customer acquisition costs, but how do we keep the customers, to your point, loyal, not shifting as much, and then providing value, right? So everything really looking at it as providing, like, whether it's, early access, right? Like Nick's, we just launched with Minecraft that, and we've had an amazing day for Minecraft launch, but that is providing value to our core consumer set, getting them in on whether it's product development, right? So providing value in a number of ways. I don't think it's just price. I think price is probably going to be a piece of it, but right, what is it about the brand? Why do they remain loyal? Why do they feel connected, right? And so, like, as you mentioned, clients that think about this, I think, are going to win. And if they think about keeping their base happy and also listening back to them as well, right? If price and costs are going to be a concern, something like the 99, I think it has a lot of opportunity there to consistently be that value partner and that loyalty partner, right? But then you look at Nick's, which is a little bit of a higher price point. You have to continue to provide value, whether it's ingredients, whether it's price point, to your point, whether it's getting them involved in different kind of one-off activities or engagements. I think that it's going to be tricky, and the navigation period is going to be a lot longer. So I don't think that there's also going to be an easy fix. I see this as lasting quite a long time, 18 months, 24 months, it could be 2 years. So navigating these, I think, are going to take a lot more thought. Marketers, we went over into the sort of left brain data analysis very hard. What happened to all the brand marketers? So when you think about loyalty and value, that I think is going to become more and more and more important over, and you're going to see it. You're not going to see it in 6 months. You're going to start to see it in 8, 10, 12, 18. So it's the right question. I think we're going to feel it out as we go, but providing loyalty and value, to me, kind of go hand in hand.
Gotcha. No, I love that, because I do think that, we have a tendency to get a little bit of tunnel vision and say, like, okay, we want to focus on bottom of the funnel conversion, which obviously is a really important part of any marketing mix. But you still have to be able to drive that brand awareness and, drive loyalty for your core consumers as well, and not completely just, drop off in that area. So I love that answer. And then kind of getting into holiday campaigns at Meaningful Works. I'd love to just kind of hear a little bit about that. And, do you see clients scale up in Q4?
Yeah. So for a brand like 99, which I am not directly on, I was last year. 99 is very seasonal. You can imagine, right? Halloween, the Christmas season, et cetera. So they're for sure scaling up. This is kind of like their big time of the year, in a lot of ways, right? So providing real value. They have a lot of amazing products, right? So it's not just gift giving, right? It's also everyday household items, right? So it's certainly going to be scaling up the brand like 99, and with, something like Rayleigh's as well, right? So food and grocery tend to tick up, right? You have Thanksgiving, right? You have these big days where grocery and retail are going to tick up. For a brand like Nick's, Q4 promotions is not, Q4 promo in general, winter months, ice cream, it's not the time period. What we do at Meaningful Works, it tends to be a very busy time for the studio. We get a lot of work is done planning for the next year. Like last year, it was probably our busiest time ever. So as much as we maybe have clients that are also scaling up for Q4, we also have a lot they're planning for the next year. And I think that's something that at least I've seen and been here for several years. Not all brands and businesses are that thoughtful in planning. Some of them, they don't have budgets until February or March, which is crazy. So for us, we tend to use that Q4 as a real time for thinking through the next fiscal year, the next fiscal quarters. But going to ice cream, right? It's cold. It's not the time of year when everybody's getting ice cream. So we tend to plan out. We do have big pushes in January. So it's the time of year where other snacks and treats like cookies, for example, and chocolates take over from ice cream.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's definitely nice to hear, using that time wisely. Obviously, we all want to be able to unplug a little bit and spend time with our family and friends, but some of us may not be able to, because we do have programs scaling up, or like you were mentioning, being able to plan for the year ahead. So And then just kind of shifting gears to, the channels that are at play at the moment. We've kind of got a rise in, CTV advertising with connected TV, as well as QR codes. Do you have any pointers on, how you find the right mix of channels for your clients?
Yeah, and I kind of hinted at it earlier. And the thing is, I mean, all of this is everything in marketing changes all the time. And that's kind of what I love about it. The craziness of nothing is ever consistent, even with things like CTV, right? You used to have linear TV. I'm a huge proponent of CTV. I've been pushing it for at least a year now, and I see clients moving more and more in that direction. It has brand awareness, but you all can get hyper targeted. To me, I think of it as a best of both worlds. You get sort of that brand awareness, but you target it the way you would a lower funnel channel, which I think is some of the best of both worlds. Maybe the cost is a little bit higher, barrier to entry is a little bit higher, but not too much higher. When I think about media mixes, I'm shifting more for me, and I think the clients, and this is just my reading of the tea leaves, and my recommendation will be spend a lot less dollars on lower funnel. That doesn't mean you shouldn't spend it, but they're going to work a lot less hard than they ever have, I think, in most marketers' careers now. I think we're switching back. So something like a CTV, something like direct mail, something like hyper local, hyper targeted, right? If you're brands that have brick and mortar or you're in retail, I think about the needs of the business first, right? What do they need? What's going to be important? How do you drive that value and loyalty? How can you look at sales in the longer term, right? So in a more broad way, I would say I'm thinking about how do you build a brand over the next 12 to 18 months, especially as brands start to scale down their brand spend, real opportunity to actually build a brand. I think whether I say this or not, I think most marketers are going to like triple down. Most marketers and brands, they're going to triple down on that lower funnel. I think they're going to spend a lot of wasted dollars that could have been spent better on things like CTV, on things like outdoor, on things like direct mail, on things like hyper local marketing, right? So, I don't have like a one size fits all in terms of how I think about it, but you have to look at like, are they local? Do they have a .com presence? Do they want to have a brick and mortar presence, right? And that kind of feeds that funnel. But I would say, shifting away from things like Facebook and Instagram and onto other channels just to play and learn and to start to build that brand recognition is the recommendation that I'm going to be making into 23. I don't think it fits for all brands, but I think it's going to fit for more than they would have initially thought 2 years ago.
Yeah, for sure. And, we're aware that those channels and those platforms aren't going away, but I do appreciate, kind of what you're saying about like, you still got to have like the table stakes there on those platforms, but then you also have to shift into newer things. So.
Yeah, I mean, you think about anything, right? Like when radio first was radio advertising and then TV happened. Radio didn't go away, right? Radio didn't go away at all. And so radio is just a part of the mix. TV then became a part of the mix. And then cable TV became a part of the mix, right? And then when digital started, and I remember this because I had at the wonderful company, the owner of the company, not Linda, Stewart, was very funny in saying this digital thing is never going to last. He spent some money on something for Yahoo, didn't get his return. And this was like 2005, or he said it's just junk, right? So that kind of thinking is, they're all channels to play in. Which channel makes sense? How much do you spend? It does get a little more unwieldy. I think some brands are also better fit for TikTok, for example, than others, right? Yeah. So you're absolutely right. They're not going to go away. They just become less of a focus. And why I think things like hyper targeted, hyper local, if you're a brick and mortar, like you're a coffee shop, I think thinking about it that way versus like, let's just get on Facebook. My experience has been really successful, and Nick's in particular, right? I think our strategy, especially like working with GroundTruth, this focus, and especially on specific retailers, right? Like our Sprouts campaign, right? We're promoting for Sprouts, or we're doing promotion for Walmart, or we're promoting for Publix, whichever retailer we happen to promote for. Hyper local store marketing, I think is that's where that shift has to go, because Facebook can't find these users in the way they used to. It's not their fault. They just can't find them, but also they have less users than they ever did, and there's less time spent there, right? So how do you think about different channels? Where's the next vertical, right? And when I think of at least local for 99, for Nick's, for Rayleigh's, et cetera, I mean, it just makes absolute sense to find where they are, to meet them where they are, and then to give them the content that they're looking for, rather than just generic broad-based content.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my next question was going to be about, the different channels and objectives with those channels, but I think you kind of alluded to a lot of that. So we'll skip ahead just a little bit. And I would just love to hear, do you have any brands that are favorites of yours in the game that, you think are super innovative or just very creative?
Yeah, I really like Lululemon. I think that they've done an exceptional job of a couple things. But they were a great brand, but they were kind of very female focused. So they've pivoted into having product for both men and women. Um, and men and women love it across the board. I mean, they're absolutely right. So just the product mix that they had, done a great job there. What I've also seen that they do incredibly well too is their brick and mortar experience still feels very, I would say, consistent as it was when they first launched, right? When they're brick and mortar. But they have a incredible .com experience too. You may get more items. You may get more, variety of colors for whichever leggings that you want. You may get different sizes that you can't find in store. But also, they understand that the in-store experience, right? They have different colored bags, right? So there is an experience in their physical locations that I think they're doing quite well. And I don't think it's cannibalizing at all. And they also have an international market that kind of comes and want to buy Lululemon product as well, right? So that's how the .com also fits into it. And then their marketing and advertising, right? Who they choose to partner with is also something that I think is quite strong, right? So in that space, which, the vertical of, I would say, athleisure, athletic wear, I think they've been able to maintain where some other brands haven't. And I think there's been some cannibalization of the brick and mortars, right? So I don't think, and I don't know, and maybe there's somebody here who could tell me, but I don't think that they've scaled so massively in their brick and mortar that it's kind of hurt them. I think they still have these signature stores that consumers love to go to, but then the .com kind of helps buffer out. So I think that's difficult for a fashion retailer to balance that. Coming from Forever 21, that was always a difficult play, especially when you have a lot of product. But they've been pretty consistent. So I really like the balance, at least right now, that they have, and the way that they focus on it.
Yeah, definitely that, being thoughtful about scaling and not just, going for more and more and more stores. You want to be able to keep that customer experience and, doing it with excellence. So yeah. I can definitely see that with Lulu. And one of my favorites is Wendy's. I know that they've been on the Twitter game strong for a really long time, but they're still one of my faves. And just one more question to close this out. We'd love to know when you start your holiday shopping. Are you a planner or are you a last minute shopper?
Two years ago, I was a super planner. I had everything and it was the best Christmas ever because I had it all, 2019, I had it all planned out. It was so great. The last 2 years I've been terrible. So I'm telling myself this year I'm getting way ahead of it. I'm going to get way ahead of it.
Start now.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely. I set a goal in a calendar. I've always found anything you set up the time you say you will do something versus want to, yep. I will get it done before the second week of December. How about that? No much.
That's a solid commitment. Okay.
Solid commitment. Yeah. Or December 10th, I'll mark it on my calendar.
Awesome. Well, hey, I think we're going to invite Rachel back on screen here for a little Q&A.
Hey, thanks so much. Thank you so much, David, for sharing all of your wisdom and insights. Very, very helpful. I'm also a big Lululemon fan, as are my preteens, it gets very dangerous in our household.
Costly, that's for sure, right? That's
yes. Yeah. So we have some great questions. This first one, I'll go ahead and answer questions from the crowd. And Allison, you can click on the Q&A too, so you have visibility. But are you seeing shoppers consolidate trips or visit fewer retail destinations over the past 90 to 180 days? So I'll tell you based on our insights. And then David, I'd love to have you weigh in too. So when you saw the rise of gas prices, we definitely saw trip consolidation, meaning on the average behavioral trips, we saw these people stop at these stores, and now you kind of saw them do fewer trips lasting longer. So dwell times in stores tended to go up. And then according to our friends at some big box stores, their insights are saying that basket sizes also went up. So kind of that fewer, bigger, better. But with gas prices starting to kind of have some relief or go back to more normal state, we're seeing also the rise in trips start to happen. So I would say that right now what we're seeing is more normalized behavior when it comes to that. And again, as we start heading deeper into kind of the unknown of the economy into this next couple quarters, this tends to be a behavior that repeats itself when you see the economy at kind of lower points or you see gas prices rise. So it's very intuitive to what's happening around us. David, what are you seeing?
You guys have more data than I do for sure. What I have seen is that pretty much was the trend. Bigger basket sizes. That's kind of what we saw as the trend. The trip data, I don't think we have as much of it, but bigger basket sizes, I think that trend might continue actually through the end of the year would be my suspicion. Less frequent trips. I work with Instacart as well on some of this. And so it's interesting. They had actually like smaller basket sizes earlier in the year, and now they're the bigger basket sizes, right? So the AOV of them is overall increasing. So it's a very interesting dynamic to your point. And then I think gas prices are going to play a huge role in it too.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and just to chime in there too, thinking about the different channels that people can use to get all of their goods now from, delivery or pickup or actually going into a store. I think you do also see some trip consolidation there because people may be getting most of what they need from a different channel, but then they actually have to go into a physical retailer to kind of round out everything.
Right.
Perfect. This is a great one too. Mariah asks, what are some best strategies for holiday advertising for real estate? So I can chime in from the GroundTruth side. We actually had an audience that's called In Market to Buy. These are people who we saw at Mapped or different, where they used to do the open houses. And so if we saw them going to these known open house locations, then they were an audience that was considered in market to buy. And so talk to your local GroundTruth representative because there are some really unique strategies that we can use or deploy here. Another one that I've heard that real estate has kind of capitalized on is targeting people who purchase packing supplies. Usually someone will do some sort of in-house cleaning. If they're getting ready to stage a home or getting ready to list a home, they're purchasing packaging supplies or types of high indexing cleaning supplies that are very specific. And so adding purchase-based audiences to your audience targeting and layering it, like we talked about with getting highly targeted, are great ways to be able to target different consumers for realtors. All right. And one last one, it talks about how ads appear. So Allison, I'll let you take this one if you want to.
Yeah, absolutely. So speaking of GroundTruth ads specifically, whenever you think of mobile, we have over 100,000 app partnerships. So the way we like to think about it on mobile and CTV is that we want to reach the right shopper or the right consumer first. So we're always kind of looking like, okay, does this person fit these parameters? Okay, let's serve them an ad. So all of our mobile ads are all done in app through those different partnerships. We do own and operate WeatherBug as well, so you can see ads there. And then with connected TV, we've got all your major players, the Hulus, the Netflixes, the Disney Pluses. I think we've got Pluto, HGTV, Discovery. If you'd like to see a sample app list, we're definitely happy to provide those. But again, just making sure that we're looking at who the shopper or the consumer is, and then reaching them on whatever screen or whatever app they're in.
Yep. And whatever assets you have available to you, whether it's pack shots or you've got lifestyle imagery, or you even have TikTok or a social that you want turned into an ad type, feel free to reach out to us and we can develop that for you and show you what that would look like on any of the different placements that we have. So with that, I think that's all of the Q&A. If you have any additional questions, then please feel free to reach out to us via email, connect with David on LinkedIn, connect with all three of us. We would love to continue this conversation. I don't know about you guys, but I'm excited about this holiday season. I feel like we've got a lot to be grateful for. We, kind of made it on the other side of these last 2 years, possibly. And so I've already got my house decked out for fall and hoping that follows with cooler weather here in the South because we are melting in the hot temps. So thank you so much for joining us today. And please remember to fill out the poll. This helps give us valuable feedback on ways that we can continue to show up well for our customers and our audiences. So thank you again, David, for joining us. And we look forward to hosting another GroundTruth webinar in the future. So follow us on LinkedIn. Thanks everybody.